Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm back again to share a few projects with you. We're using a collection called Hello Lovely. This is a fabulous collection. I just love the colors in here. Great for so many occasions. And I love that there is a stamp set that has a whole bunch of fun sentiments in the same Hello Lovely collection. There's a coordinating die set that will cut out all of the larger scripty sentiments. I just love this. We'll be using this on our card today. And I'm going to be using pattern papers. Sometimes I'll use the sticker sheet. There's fabulous stickers in here. Wonderful stickers. But there's also a wonderful Hello Lovely ephemera pack. This has 26 pieces of ephemera, and I thought we would use this and some pattern papers and the stamp set to create our three projects today. So I'm going to pick out some pattern papers and we are going to get to creating. I picked some pattern papers out for our project today, and I'm going to tell you the names because some of your favorite crafty stores have these sheets. These are actually 12 by 12 sheets. They sell them individually. So if you're on a budget, this is for you. This first one here, we're going to be using, it shows you the back side right here on each of the sheets. And I'm going to be using the fabulous 12 by 12 pattern paper along with the back side. Just think this is such a pretty pattern. And then we'll be using the front sides of the rest. This is Lovely Floral. This is Banner Day. And this is So Sweet. So we have some tone-on-tone prints, some stripes and polka dots, all my favorite patterns. I'm going to go ahead and bring in a piece of white cardstock and we'll stamp all of our sentiments. So my sentiments, I have Hello Friend, You Are So Fabulous, and I have Thinking of You, Beautiful. I'm going to stamp these, and actually I also have the little heart. There's a heart image in here. I'm going to stamp that 3 times, so I put that on an acrylic block. But I'll stamp this with my black ink pad. Look how fabulous those fonts are. And then in the open areas, I will go ahead and stamp this heart here. We'll stamp this 3 times. There's coordinating dies for all the scripty sentiments, and also there's a circle die that'll die cut out that heart. So we're going to go ahead and separate our dies, and I will die cut out all of my images here. All my sentiments and my little hearts are die cut out, and now we're ready to jump in with our first card. Let's go ahead and open up our ephemera pack and pick out some ephemera for our first card here. I love using ephemera on cards because it coordinates with your paper beautifully. And I think I'm going to use this one for my beautiful. And we have You Are So Fabulous. I think I want to create a shaker card with our photo frame here. Shaker cards are very easy to create when you have the photo frames. And the heart on here actually pops out, but I'm going to leave it in. I love those polka dots on there. They separate really easy, and if they do have little notches, you can just use your scissors and trim them away. Or if you have a file, you could do that, but they're not that noticeable. So this one I want to put with this card, and this is actually a really pretty frame. If you want to keep that, you could use that. A lot of fun elements. That looked pretty on a square card. And I did see some banners, so I think we're going to use a few of our banners for card number 2. Oops. That wanted to pop out, but I think we'll use that on our third card. I love the colors here. Maybe we'll add this little floral to that card. And I think we'll use this frame too for our third card. So I'm going to leave out my ephemera just in case I want to use some more. Now I'm going to trim down some pattern paper. I love the colors of this collection, and I think it'll go really good with some vellum since there's some softer elements in there. So I have a piece of vellum that is a little bit larger than my die cut here. And what we're going to do is layer this die cut or ephemera on our piece of vellum. And we're just going to center it so a little bit peeks out. And then I did also die cut out a circle with white cardstock. I'm going to use some foam squares and pop up this die cut. Wonderful. Now I'm going to flip over my Thinking of You and Beautiful, and I'm going to add some thin foam strips behind here. I'm going to scoot this up just a little bit. I think that looks great. After we have our sentiment adhered, we have some pattern papers. I have a background that I created that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to my card base. It's going to leave me some white border, so I want to center that. And then I have a strip of our stripe paper. I'm going to use glue for this, and I'm going to add a thin bead along here. This is going to go along the left edge, and I'm going to place it. My panel size that we're adhering this to measures 3 3/4 inches by 4 1/2 inches. There is a little bit overhanging with my stripe paper, which is 1/4 inch wide, so we'll just trim off that excess. Now I took some of the polka dot pattern paper, some of this one, and the polka dots are in lines, so I just trimmed down a thin strip that had 1 line of polka dots, and that's going to be perfect on the seam of this panel here. So I will just go ahead and add that. For a little bit of texture on my card, I'm going to bring in some white twine, and I'm going to wrap it around my panel here. And I'm going to tie a bow towards the top. I tied my bow here. Now I think I'm going to trim down my panel. So this measures 3 1/4 inches wide. I'm going to trim it down to 3 inches. I think that's a better measurement here. And then I'll flip this around. We're going to add some adhesive. And then I'll tack this down on my card base. And we're going to tack this down. So a little bit of it's overhanging here, but we're going to center it on our panel. I'm going to finish this off with a few sequins. And we're just going to use some glue to adhere them. And that will finish off our first card. For my next card, I thought we would make a shaker card. And what we're going to do, instead of using acetate, we're going to use a piece of vellum. So we're going to soften up our shaker. I'm going to take my photo frame. I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to add some glue along the back side. And then I trim down a piece of vellum that will fit right behind it. After we have the vellum adhered, I'm going to use some thin foam tape and put it behind my frame here. I went ahead and removed the release paper off of my foam tape. Now if you want a lot of shake to your shaker, you would double up on your foam tape. But I don't mind them being a little bit stationary in some spots. And so I just used one layer. I'm going to go ahead and add those same sequins that we used for our first card. And then I created a background that was the same size as my photo frame. I'm going to flip it around so the yellow pattern is on the inside, and we will tack this down. We're sealing in all of those shakers. So it's a real subtle look. After we have this done, I am going to bring in some of that same twine, and I'm going to tie a bow, so the bow is going to be right over this little heart. Okay, for my background, I have a panel that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. I'm going to flip this around, and we're going to add some tape behind it and adhere this to our card base. And then I'll go ahead and pick my photo frame up, and we'll put that in the middle of our card base also. Now we have our banners. Let's kind of arrange them where we want them. And I think we're just going to use 3 banners. We're not going to use this floral. So I'll put this one back. And I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner, and we will tack these down. And then we have our hearts, but I want to color them in. So I went through my markers and I found 3 colors that coordinated with my pattern paper. So we're just going to color in those hearts with the markers. So we have a yellow, a green, and a pink. I think those will match perfect. And then I'm going to flip these around, and we're going to put some small foam squares behind. They're evenly spaced. Now I will take my sentiment that says "You are so fabulous," and I'm going to add this just above those banners. And I did put foam tape behind them, so we have a little bit of dimension. We're going to add Morning Dew Nuvo drops to the center of this. It looks a little cloudy, but will dry clear, and they'll have some dimension and shine to those. And that finishes that card. For my final card today, we have a tag that is from our Ephemera pack. And I'm going to go ahead and add an eyelet right over the hole here, and just use my crocodile to secure that. I love adding textures on my cards, and so an eyelet will work perfectly for this. Now we're going to flip over this frame. This is from our Ephemera pack, and I'm going to adhere this inside the window, and then we'll tack it down on the middle, on the very bottom of this frame. I think that's good. I'll flip it over. I'm going to add some adhesive behind here. I'm going to take this, and we're going to tack this down to a 3 by 3 inch piece of vellum. And this is going to be larger than our frame, so a little bit's going to be overhanging, like so. And then I'll just use a little bit of glue behind this to tack that down. I'm going to bring in that same white twine, and we will thread it through our tag. We're going to wait till this is adhered to our card base before we tie a bow with that. Now I have a background panel that measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches tall. We're going to adhere this to our card base, and then I'm going to flip this around. I'm going to add some foam tape behind here, and then we will add this to our card base as well. Now I have our circle ephemera piece, and then I die cut out a white circle that was a little bit larger. I'm going to flip around this and put a foam tape behind it, and then we'll center this on our white circle. I think this is just going to make it stand out. And then I'm going to use a little bit of glue, and we're going to tack this down. Now we need to add our sentiment, and I did pop this up with some foam tape. We'll go ahead and add this. Now for a little sparkle, we're going to bring back those sequins, and we'll add a few. And that will finish off my final project for today. So we have 3 cards that we created with the Hello Lovely stamp set, along with the coordinating die set, along with the ephemera pack and a few pattern papers. I hope this gives you some ideas on how to use some 12 by 12 collection kits. I thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day. We will see you soon. Bye-bye.